If you still think Bulgari is just a jewelry brand, you have not been paying attention. Over the last decade, Bulgari has quietly built what I feel is one of the most technically impressive watch portfolios in the industry. World records, ultra-thin movements, high complications that most brands don't even attempt. Not entry-level pieces, not design-first watches, real horology. To really understand how they got there, you have to go back to the foundation of the brand. Bulgari was founded way back in 1884 in Rome, and for most of its history, it was known for its jewelry. The strong Italian design identity, bold shapes, attention to form, and use of precious materials is still a core part of what they do today. The transition into serious watchmaking, however, began in early 2000s when they started investing heavy into Swiss manufacturing. They also brought key parts of production in-house, which basically allowed them to control movement development rather than relying on third-party suppliers like a lot of brands out there do. Now keep in mind, somewhere in there, Bulgari got bought over by LVMH, and prior to that, Bulgari bought Gerald Genta, and they bought Daniel Roth, right? Which is why we have what we have today under the LVMH umbrella, and I'll comment more on that as we go along so you'll get it. But the shift that I'm talking about, it actually led to the introduction of the Octa line in 2012. Now, if you look at the Octa line, it certainly reminds me of a Gerald Genta design. However, it's not just a pure Gerald Genta design. The Octa case design is actually directly inspired by Roman architecture. More specifically, the geometric layering seen in structures like the Basilica of Maxentius, if you will, right? It's a multifaceted octagonal case that stands out immediately. But more importantly, it became the foundation of what we have today. The real turning point came in 2014 with the Octo Finissimo tourbillon. This watch set a world record at the time for the thinnest tourbillon wristwatch. Inside this particular version is the BVL 268 caliber, and it's just 1.95 millimeters thick. And by the way, this is not a case, this is the entire movement. At that level, everything becomes harder. Structural integrity, energy transfer, durability. So there's really no room for error when you're making ultra-thin watches. Now add skeletonization to this. They actually did it in a process of by removing material, right? That pretty much exposed the entire structure that you see here. Every single detail is visible also, so there's really nowhere to hide, right? Of course, this watch took home the tourbillon prize at GPHG, which is one of the highest honors in watchmaking. On top of all that, they said, that wasn't enough. Let's put it in platinum. Platinum is dense. It's harder to machine. It's rarely used in ultra-thin watches because of how unforgiving it is. It tends to pit. There's just so many problems with working with platinum when it comes to jewelry, and let alone the world's thinnest watch. So basically, they combined record-setting engineering, skeletonization, and one of the most difficult materials to work. They're proving they belong in that top tier. That's exactly what they were trying to achieve here. But let's talk about this particular watch. Introduced in 2019, represents more of, I would say, an experimental approach to displaying time. The papillon complication replaces a traditional seconds hands with a butterfly style mechanism that opens and closes as it tracks time. So it's literally flapping its wings like a butterfly. It's very visually distinct, but mechanically a lot more complex than a standard display. Very, very few brands attempt this type of complication because it does require a lot of additional engineering without offering basically a practical advantage, if you will. So again, it tends to be about creativity, flex, and let's call it mechanical expression. Compared to the Finissimo, the lines are a bit softer, a bit more curvy, if you will, which makes it feel, I would say, less rigid in comparison to the Octa. Now, this watch is not important because it set records, but because it shows that Bulgari is not limited to one area of watchmaking. They're capable of pushing technical boundaries, but they're also willing to explore what I would say unconventional ideas and less traditional complications. And of course, then you have this, the Octa Roma Blue Carleone tourbillon minute repeater. Introduced in 2020, combines a minute repeater with a tourbillon, which is already a rare combination. If you look at most grand complications out there, minute repeaters tend to be paired up with perpetual calendar chronos, right? It's rare that you get the tourbillon and the minute repeater all in one. Now, of course, Carleone system, right? Most minute repeaters use 2 gongs to produce the sound. Carleone will use 3. It allows for more complex layered acoustic output, but it also makes the mechanism significantly more engineered and tuned. Notice I said engineer and tune because not only are you engineering a movement right now, you're also tuning it like a musical instrument, right? And sound quality, this is the biggest challenges in any minute repeater design, right? What Bulgari did is they engineered a case to improve resonance and projection. This is particularly difficult in platinum. Again, platinum tends to damp sound. Of course, the watch was produced in a very limited number, and each one required extensive hand adjustments to ensure the minute repeater functioned correctly, and it also produced consistent, beautiful sound. The level of complication combined with the attention to acoustic performance places Bulgari in direct competition with some of the most established high-complication watchmakers. And the most important part, they didn't stop. Today, Bulgari still pushing the Octo line forward. They've continued to push the Octo Finissimo line further, most notably with the Octo Finissimo Ultra, which reduced the total watch to the thickness to around 1.8 millimeters. They've expanded into different materials like titanium, ceramic, developed finishing techniques that have become closely associated with the brand. It's like your own signature. It's like an artist's stroke, right? Now you have your own finishes that people tend to recognize. It's a big deal. It's not sometimes always about the complication itself. It's also about the finishes. So at this point, the Octa is no longer a newer experimental line. It's one of the most recognized modern watch designs. And it does represent a core part of Bulgari's identity in watchmaking today. So when people say Bulgari is just a jewelry brand, they're overlooking just how much the brand has evolved. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in as always. I hope I shed a little bit of light into the high horology world of Bulgari, and perhaps I may have changed some people's mind. Yes, they're not just a jewelry brand. As always, comment, like, share, subscribe, do all those wonderful things, and I'll see you in the next one.